Well, a trial is now underway in Harney County to determine whether a gun control law passed in Oregon violates the state constitution. Measure 114 passed last year by a small margin, but has not gone into effect because of legal challenges. Fox 12's Drew Marine listened in on that trial today and has the latest for us tonight.
Witnesses included a firearms instructor and gun owners from Harney County who say they oppose Measure 114. The state defended the measure and attempted to ease concerns of those against it. Ballot Measure 114 has been a hotly debated topic and has faced legal backlash since Oregonians passed it back in November. Harney County Judge Rob Rashio is the one who put a stop to the law before it went into effect last December and is overseeing a case challenging it. The law would require Oregonians to get a background check in order to get a permit to buy a gun and bans high-capacity magazines that hold more than 10 rounds, which the plaintiff's attorneys say is unconstitutional.
This case is not about public health, public safety, or public concern. This is about individual rights. This is about the individual right to self-defense and the right to bear arms to secure that right. This case is about how an individual right will fare against the might of the Oregon state government.
But the defense says Measure 114 is not an infringement on Oregonians' rights, but rather that it addresses public safety.
Measure 114 was a reasonable response to the public safety risk posed by large capacity magazines. As the preamble to the statute explains, large capacity magazines increase casualties by allowing a shooter to continue firing a weapon for long periods of time without reloading. Large capacity magazines have been used in all 10 of the deadliest mass shootings in this country since 2009.
Witnesses took the stand in court today, including Harney County gun owners and firearms instructor Derek LeBlanc, who offered his opinion on what firearms he recommends people use in settings such as their home, at the office, or in public. In most cases, LeBlanc suggests a gun that has the highest capacity magazine, so there's no time wasted reloading a weapon in a self-defense situation. He's concerned Measure 114 and magazine limits could negatively impact that.
When that gun goes into slide lock, that costs time. In a defensive situation, that time adds to seconds where my life's in danger and on the line.
The state, however, points out that an attacker would also be slowed down by reloading.
Logically, it would have to apply both to an attacker or a defender, correct?
Yes.
And it would apply to a mass shooter, correct?
This was day one of the bench trial, meaning there's no jury and the decision will ultimately be in the judge's hands. We'll, of course, follow this trial as it unfolds to bring you updates. Live in studio, Drew Marine, Fox 12 Oregon.